Are you living the Delaware Beach lifestyle? You can't live at the beach and do nothing. This up-and-coming year-round area has lots to offer. Find out where to eat, play, and serve. Living the ultimate dream.
Right. So welcome to the 302 Lifestyle Beach Podcast. We got Dr. Claude Cable in the house, and just looking a little bit about the work that you're doing with leadership, and you're an author and all these different things that you've done, and it looks like you're really just helping people kind of unlock different things about themselves, and you seem to have a little dabble in a few different areas, and I'm really interested to hear your story, how you got to the 302, and then what got you into what you're doing now.
How I got to the 302, I was still working for the federal government. I was a civil servant for 36 years, and it's mainly because of the tax purposes and the tax base, because I'm originally from New Jersey, and the tax there are more analytical that way. When I move someplace, I want to make sure that I don't pay too much in taxes, and it's a nice area. And I don't get me wrong, I like New Jersey. It's just that their taxes are a little bit higher than Delaware.
Yeah, and it's so close. Why not just move a couple, an hour away, and you got no tax?
Yeah, and so and plus I was working at Aberdeen Proving Grounds, and so I actually originally moved up into Delaware, since it's one area code in the 302. Yeah. I lived up in Bear for several years, and then we started coming down to Rehoboth on our vacations, me and my wife, and we liked it down here, and we'd always stay at Boardwalk Plaza Hotel, and then we decided to buy a house down here, and so I live in southern Delaware and in Millsboro, and it's a nice area, and I guess that's because because being in the Navy for 20 years, I always liked being around water, and just growing up around beaches, because we always go to the Jersey Beach when I was little, and so
that's actually where I grew up. I went to Cape May every year as a kid, and then so love all of that. Okay, so now you're in Millsboro, and FYI, we did have the Millsboro town manager on, so he's got some really good plans for Millsboro. If you're interested in that, check that show out.
Okay.
Okay, so now what is it that you do exactly? So I know on here, of course I know, but I would love to hear it in your words. What can people look for?
What I do exactly, and I thought about this the other day, I'm a pool attendant, because during the day, I'm actually physically retired. So me and my wife go to the pool during the day, every day. What I do on the side, though, is what you're getting at.
Yes.
And, I actually provide online training content. That's my main thing I do now. I work with a bunch of educators that have various backgrounds. Like I'm an adjunct instructor for Goldie Beacom College in northern Delaware, up in Wilmington. Mm-hmm. And I've always been in education. My parents were educators. They had various degrees, and so now with technology now, how it's advanced, I like helping people, and you can see that in my online content. When you go to my LinkedIn accounts and my website, that will be posted from this blog, you can, and that's what I do. And then the books that I wrote, the fictional, non-fictional books, one's called, hold it up if you don't mind.
Yeah, of course. Let's see it.
This is the first one I actually penned. Problem is, it's the background filter is cut.
No, I see. It says Heartbeat. So if someone's not watching, so Heartbeat, a second chance. And I was definitely going to ask you about that, because some of the stuff I'm looking at just sounds really interesting. So tell us about that.
That book, and briefly, 4 years ago, I had a heart attack. And that's the reason why I retired from the federal government. And because I, up to that point, had put 36 years. And I think the Lord was telling me it's about time I do something else. And so basically, it's just my way of, the book is my way of, in my mind, putting the word out to people about that have gone through that and that experience. And so it's my thoughts. It's very short. It's only 90 pages. It's a very short book, but it's just some thoughts for people that even if it's not just a heart attack, they're going through other life difficulties. It talks to that.
Yeah, I really like that. I myself went through a very traumatic experience with a coma and things like that about 4 years ago, coincidentally. And I am too writing a book about my experience. And so this is very interesting conversation, because I think a lot of people, especially in this area, and I say this all the time on here, but we get all these big cities around us, right? And in those big cities, you just drive in there for 5 minutes and you're already kind of stressed out because everyone's in a rush and you feel this urgency, and I don't know where that comes from. I had it too. I came from Vegas. So there's a sense of like needing to always get somewhere. But I think when people find the beach or this area in general, or even Jersey or any like area where kind of things slow down a little bit, there's a sense of like, I don't know, like a sense of peace, like a sense of like, oh, there's something else besides this needing to hurry to get nowhere, And it's, so did you find that yourself when you decided to come here?
Yeah, that's basically pretty much because it's that concept that we've been taught to work and work and work and work. And then I thought in the book, I say, well, why do we work? We work if we're earning money. Like my grandfather, actually 2 weeks after he retired from the IRS, he had a heart attack and died. And I'm thinking, it runs in my family. I'm thinking, I'm just betting against the odds here. Why not enjoy life and put life first and the family first? That's what I got out of basically the whole premise in the book, besides bettering my faith.
Yeah, I love all that. And Claude, just to touch on that a little bit, it's because I think it's such an important piece for people to kind of wake up to. Is I was just talking to I'm Army, so thank you for your service. And I don't know, I was talking to my friend yesterday, and there's a sense of like needing to save money and make more money, and I don't know, we're kind of like brainwashed into this feeling of needing to acquire a lot of things so I can have more time later, right? But then the weird paradox is when you get to the age where you have more time, you have all this money, but you realize you don't have time. You're actually running out of time, And so now it's like, I think there's a nice medium. There should be this life of, not worrying so much about money, because you can't take any of that with you anyways, and if you save all this money and you spoil your kids, now your kids don't have any drive or passion to do anything. So it's like, maybe we take our attention off of that need to acquire and have and just enjoy life. And I love where you're kind of driving this in on people of waking up. Hey, you don't know if you're going to wake up tomorrow. Let's maybe take a look at some of these things you're doing and see if we don't need to be doing all this stuff and just enjoy your life. Is that where I'm getting at with this?
Yeah, and I understand that, because it's about what you value, where you put what you value in life, whether you value money or you value your family. That's what that situation taught me, and where you put your faith in. And so sure, I have things because the Lord has blessed me, and I was able to buy a house down in Millsboro. But still, I put my faith in my family, and they come first.
And now you're realizing that there's also something greater than yourself, this creative intelligence, this God, or whatever you choose to call it, this there is something there, and it's really nice to lean in on that. I think this area really provides that comfort to kind of, especially at the beach. You have that huge ocean, and it's just a way to kind of feel that presence of something else, besides yourself. Really cool.
Yes.
Claude, so then, okay, so you got this experience, but now you've got some Waves of the Unknown Murders. So a murder, was it a mystery? Yeah?
It's more, I did that more just to, because after that experience where I worked for 36 years and all of a sudden you're told, somebody's telling you not to work anymore, and the doctor saying, you shouldn't drive 2.5 hours to work anymore. And those kind of things. And so I needed to keep my mind entertained. And I've always been a fan of Arthur Conan Doyle's books and other murder mystery books. And even Edgar Allan Poe actually wrote one of the first known detectives.
I didn't know that.
Sherlock Holmes actually was kind of made after a guy named, the detective's name was DuPont. And Edgar Allan Poe is from Baltimore. He actually lived in Baltimore. And that's one of his first attempts at, other than his dark stories, his attempts at writing a detective story. And
that's interesting. I didn't know all that.
It's called The Murder at the Rue Morgue. You can look it up. And it's, so from there, the way I write, and the backdrop is all the stuff that's going on in the world with culture and race and situations like that. The main character, a guy named Caleb Bolden, he actually is a professor, so he has that kind of personality as Sherlock Holmes, but he actually is married with kids, and he actually develops these relationships. So it's about character development and once I started writing, I did that 15-minute thing we talked about before, where you should write for 15 minutes a day and just put your thoughts down. Next thing I know, I had 35 chapters.
Wow.
And so then I had somebody edit it and edit it and edit it and edit it and edit it. And after about 2 months, that's the final thing. And both my books, I should say this, can be found on Apple Books, Amazon, and the murder mystery book, there's an Audible version of it now on Audible.
Love all that. So we'll definitely try to put some links down below for you guys if you want to check these out. We've got a lot of readers on here. Now, here's a great plug-in time. So your website is actually called smilediscounts.com. This is something that really kind of popped out to me why I was hoping you'd come on here, because I just love that. So we used to have like all these boring titles and stuff in our other company, and it didn't really describe what they're doing, and then one day we were in a real estate company office, and their reception desk said happiness manager or director of happiness. And I was like, oh my gosh, that is so much better. And so now I see Smile Discounts. So it seems like you're really promoting just a happy way of life, and you've got these books people can check out, obviously on all these different platforms. We'll put all those down below. So tell me a little bit about, where did you come up with Smile Discounts? And then I would love to dive into, you got a lot of leadership stuff going on, and training and stuff like that. Tell me a little bit about
it. Actually started with the first book, Heartbeat, A Second Chance. As you see, I'll hold the book up again. You can see there's a smile, and you can see that I have stitches there. That's kind of because I had full open heart surgery. Wow. And so it started from there. Because during when I did my master's and my doctorates, I had to learn business development and stuff like that, and actually write a business plan. And I had a concept for a company, but I wanted to make sure the name kind of stood out. And the Lord just kind of threw this on since this situation happened to me. And So I say you should start every day with a smile. So instead of that, I just kind of play on words. The funny thing is I'll get medical salespeople calling me to thinks I'm a dentist.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Thinks I'm a dentist and actually tries
That's
to sell me
funny.
dental supplies. And I said, no, I do have a doctorate, but it's not in dentistry. And basically the concept of when you meet somebody, you smile, you, it actually relaxes the situation better. Because you've ever been in front of somebody and they're frowning or they're not.
Yeah.
And so actually writing a sequel to that book, and it's all about smiling, the 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 science of smiling and how it can change a situation.
I was just gonna say, there's actually a lot of science behind it, like how
Yes.
many muscles you use, and like what it does to your state of being, and how it even I've even heard that it like affects your heart rate, your blood sugar, your like yeah, just simply smiling, and especially at someone else, you
Yes.
get that mirroring effect too, and somebody else wants to smile, and it's like it's such a
And
refreshing
it goes
thing.
with that same concept on health. When you do meditation, if you actually smile and you
Yeah.
teach yourself to be happier and smile. So every day I try to start it every day with a smile and laugh, tell a
Hmm.
joke, because jokes usually are consistent with smiling. Usually
Yeah.
it'll get you to relax enough to smile.
Yes. I,
So
I want to ask you to tell us a joke.
no, I don't have any jokes off the cuff right now.
Oh man,
Not
so
ones that I
yeah.
can play on this family, say on this family friendly.
Yeah. So okay, so this is all I love all this stuff. Now you're tying this all in because I mean sometimes people like to focus on one thing or the other, like what's wrong with your body, what's wrong with your mind, or like there's all these different factors, but they only focus on one thing and let me just solve that symptom or something. But what I'm hearing you say is like, I think it's all connected, not only life experiences with books and having fun, enjoying doing what you're doing, but now, the science behind smiling. And then there's also the key that I'm reading on your site about, leadership and stepping up to that type of arena of consulting and stuff.
So because I was in leadership positions in the military and in civil service, and because I have a doctorate degree and degrees and when you get a doctorate degree, it's all about leadership, and master's, it's all about learning leadership skills.
Hmm.
So there's many people that have written different theories. The biggest, latest thing is called emotional intelligence. It's
Oh, I
that
heard that one.
concept of because you've had bosses, I'm sure, that that like to would yell at you and
Yeah.
treat you, downgrade you, and treat you a little more like a transaction. And so I learned that if you're happy in life and you enjoy giving back, you're a better leader than somebody like that was yelling at you, that would treat you like a transaction. Because I remember my first jobs working at a cookie company and being treated just like a transaction. Basically, what I was doing for them, and basically making sure that I made the cookies, and that's pretty much. And then over the years, just like anything, your path helps you grow, and how you were the steps you take in life. And so from there, I've just kind of learned that because the leaders that most people come across, like the one that everybody always uses, Steve Jobs, well, he actually had a lot of faults too.
Yeah.
And there's other people that you come across that are leaders that have good qualities, bad qualities, and to be a true leader and emotionally intelligent, you
Hmm.
have to learn to analyze yourself. You have to learn to
Yeah.
analyze your daily, and then it's not about managing people. It's about teaching that person what you do, so eventually they can grow. Because once you treat people like that, then they actually will become better colleagues and employees, and they'll want to do what you do.
So it's so funny you're talking about all this because we literally have just discovered this new way of thinking over these past couple years, and I can't agree with you more. Now, being in leadership and going through what you've done in school and learning and having experience doing and practicing, I'm sure everything that you're discussing in these your consulting and education. What would you say the top 3 things that leaders or business owners or even leaders in the community that aren't involved with business, just as volunteers or anything like that, or in some type of leadership role, what would you say the top 3 things would be that people make a mistake doing? And then the caveat to that would be, what are the 3 things that they can do to improve an environment that they're coming into? If it's the first time, they're kind of like, oh, I know this isn't working. Like whatever I'm doing is making it worse, which is what happens usually. What are the 3 things that they could be doing wrong? And then what are the 3 things that they could do to improve an environment?
Just by those 2 questions alone, if they actually analyze what are you doing wrong to begin with, then you're actually learning to become a better person and a better leader. Because this concept, emotional intelligence, was discovered by, actually penned by a guy named Daniel Goleman back in the 90s. The word emotional intelligence, but it's not a new thing. It's just a new word for it, about self-analyzing. And so to answer your first question, it's just if you you're thrown into leadership and you have no idea about, you should first learn what your weaknesses are and what your strengths are. And
Okay.
so if you don't do that and you become power hungry, then you really have gone off the rails.
It's more ego than
Then it's more ego, and I've had people that I've worked for that have been wonderful leaders that have taught me to get me to where I'm going. That had really strong emotional intelligence, and I've had leaders, like I said before, that they're nice people outside of work, but when it comes to being a leader, they just didn't have the emotional intelligence for it.
Yeah.
Because and there's a lot of pressure once you're put in a situation
Yep.
like that, and it's how the people that are better at it, the people, from my experience, that have been through the military, because the military teaches about pressure, and you're put in very stressful situations. But not everybody. That's not true for everybody, because I've met people that were in the military that could not handle. But the majority of people, from my experience,
Yeah, I've never really thought about that actually, but yeah, I agree with that. And maybe that's what sparked me to realize, like, whatever I was doing, let me just go back to my roots of my training and stuff and figure out, like, okay, what are some of the things that I learned? So what I'm hearing so far is, number one, you just got to be aware that, hey, whatever I'm doing, something's going wrong, or I'm not getting the result that I'm looking for. So become aware of, okay, this is happening. Let's take a look at this. The second thing would be, okay, find out your strengths and weaknesses first, because if you're going to be trying to do something, something's telling you to do, but you just don't have that trait or characteristic or strength, then, there's a balance between figuring out your strengths and weaknesses so you know how to take the next step, right? Is that where I'm
Yeah,
getting?
that's correct. It's always self-analyzing. So you always should self-analyze your actions, because most people do it, they just don't realize it. They do it.
They're judging themselves rather than taking
even
a
the
look as
people
a
that are
subjective observer.
narcissistic. They'll self-analyze. They'll actually, but they just don't. People like that won't cut it off. They'll just, because it's all about power. Those type of people.
Okay. Now, if someone's listening, and what would be some characteristics if you would walk into a place and that there's this lack of education on leadership in the leadership? Because I tend to steer away from saying that someone isn't a good leader, because I think it comes down to they just weren't educated or didn't have the experience, and then they fell into this role, and it's so much pressure that now they feel like they need to be the power, when you walk into a situation where you are experiencing a bad leadership or poor leadership, what would be some of the red flags of, hey, something's wrong here?
Usually, typically, what I've seen and what I come across is there's the employees or the colleagues aren't happy, or there's no communication.
Hmm.
There's no clear understanding of what the leader's mission and goal is for the group or the team, and there's the retention. People want to leave,
Hmm.
and they're not really because you get in a team and there's people want to leave, or they just don't understand what the purpose. They don't really understand the mission or the purpose of the team.
Hmm.
And they're not really clear. That's one of the big red flags for me. And like if you ever go to any place that you get service from, or because life is about relationships, whether you have personal relationships or you're communicating and you're selling something, and your relationships with the customer, and somebody goes to and you really don't know what kind of service or product they're selling or providing.
Yeah.
And there's no really clear. And then when you go to interact with the first person, they aren't given enough, they aren't empowered enough to actually make somewhat decisions for the team at an entry level interaction.
Okay.
And that's how I can tell the leadership, just by that step alone. I can tell the leadership is more micromanaging than more empowering the people to actually. And you've been to restaurants and places that are the opposite, where you can tell that they're actually doing much better. They're actually empowering their entry level people to provide the service.
Yeah. So we have a cleaning company. So when we first started, I'm military, of course. So I need things to be a certain level, and I got into the leadership role thinking that the more I can control, the better things will go. So if everyone would just do what I say, everything will be perfect. And what I found myself doing was just becoming so stressed and tied into this emotion of like things just aren't going right, and I would get frustrated and frustrated and frustrated, and everyone would freak out if I would come in, where they're working, because I'd point all the stuff out that they're doing wrong, and we didn't have a clear mission, and we did start for a mission, like we wanted to offer people a safe and reliable and communication and stuff service, instead of people getting ripped off, but no one knew this, and so it's this weird transformation of like I just hit a bottom of, okay, why am I frustrated so much? And then I started diving into the awareness and learning and looking up people that actually had education or experience doing this, like yourself. And the funny thing is, the more I backed off and the more I just allowed people to make their own mistakes and learn for themselves, and it gave them this sense of, wow, they trust me, I can do this. And then we had to create our core values, and now as long as you don't break these, you can make any decision you want. And it not only for them, but for us, it just released this intense pressure of feeling like everything needs to go perfect, because that's not realistic. That's not life, So I love everything that you're saying. This is great.
That's a good example, because everybody's been there, because it's your baby, your business, that concept, and you want to tell people you do it this way or it's the highway kind of mentality.
Yep.
And that's not realistic, because basically all you're doing is treating those people like they're just a cog in the wheel.
Yeah.
And if you treat them like their family and they value, so like my other company that I started just recently, it's other educators. It's called Knowledge Consortium. And even though I'm the managing partner, what I did was I made one other person on the team a managing partner. And so there's no person one in charge. We all come together. We all have ideas and we have different ideas. And it works. It depends on your company. And if your company's like what you do, I'm glad that you learned from that.
Yeah, I think everybody's glad we learned from that one. Holy cow. And FYI, there's no business owners on that have been on the show or listening or anyone that has a problem micromanaging, I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
right.
that's the easy part because you want to always be in control. But the hard part is to actually learn to trust people. The word is trust people. Trust your employees enough to empower them and give them a little bit of leeway, because that way you can do other things and enjoy life.
Yeah.
Because I've met business owners, because one of the agencies I worked for was a small business administration. So I would deal with small businesses and businesses all the time. They're startups. And I could tell the people that are micromanaging their company, and I can tell the people that would empower their employees.
Yeah, I think within a few minutes of just being in any business, you can tell what's going on in there.
Yeah.
And this goes right into smiling, I think, because the people that are micromanaging, I wasn't smiling. I was like always like, there's this sense of like, oh yeah. So I could go on forever on that, but I think if anyone's listening and you know who you are, if you just need everything to be controlled, I don't know what you would say, Claude, but I'd kind of say, hey, just experiment, try a day where you just don't do anything. You know what? Just let it all go, see what breaks. And then,
And
go from
that's
there.
that's a good too. I mean, like these phones that we're all tethered to now, why not? So that's why I started this conversation with I'm a pool attendant. It's a play on words, but all me and my lovely bride do is we go to the pool and we put life first and we put our enjoyments first. And she taught me that, and the Lord led me there. And because before I had that mentality that if I'm not doing something every minute of every day, then I'm missing out on something. And we got to stop doing that as a society. We have to learn to put our family and friends first, and then some business or some idea will come across your table, and you'll be able to use that to actually pay for your house and pay for your food. And if you treat people like it's a relationship and you're building relationships, then you're actually, from my experience, those people are a lot happier and they enjoy their job, and they even the family becomes part of it.
Yeah, and that's why we ended up loving this area so much, because we see so many people retiring here, and we're like, okay, they must know something, right? And I think I don't know. There's this. I just love the feeling of letting go of stuff, and I think this area kind of promotes that. So we're away. We're 2 hours away, and I think a lot of business owners can relate to this right now, where we got 3 people that just called out, and we don't have any backups, and all this stuff's going on, and it's house cleaning, right? Oh my gosh, these houses need done. They have to be done. We have to drive 2 hours and leave our 1-day vacation and go help and do this. It's like, wait a minute. In the end of my life, when I'm retired, or I'm at this point where am I going to look back and think, I'm so happy I left my personal time with, family or my wife or whatever it is to go handle this cleaning? Or can I just call and be honest and say, hey, we don't have anybody available. It's just cleaning. It's not heart surgery. I feel bad for a heart surgeon if they have to be on the job. But there's a sense of like just realizing what's important in life, and when you get to the point near the end, like we're all going to be there, you start realizing I think your relationships are the most important thing. And so why not just nurture those now? Is that what I'm hearing you say, Claude?
Yeah, that's basically what the premise of my philosophy on life is. It's all about relationships. It took me 58 hours of today, and it took me half my life to figure that out.
So I'm pushing 40, so I'm in a good spot. This is good. Okay, so I got some people listening, or they happen to be reading a little bit, or they checked you out. So, and they're at this place where, okay, I do understand I need more leadership skills, or maybe my team needs more leadership skills, or maybe I work somewhere where I would really like, someone to be involved with some type of leadership skills. What do they expect if they come to your site? What would you suggest that they start?
You can either call me, and my contact information is on the site. I can repeat it now if you want me to. It's Dr. Claude at smilesdiscounts.com. That's my email. And
we got info at smilesdiscount.com.
Yeah, or info at smilesdiscounts.com. Okay. And we'll basically have a conversation because everybody's different. Everybody's life path is different. And so everybody does different things. And so we'll have a conversation, and then we'll figure out what your needs are. Because some people just want, like, they're looking to improve their career development, and they're looking for maybe certifications. Because I just became partners with a company called Mind Edge that provides on-demand, self-paced on where they can do it themselves for those people who are self-motivators. And then for those people that need a little bit extra help and need to push them to be pushed a little, that's the reason why I start that conversation. Okay. And then we don't talk about compensation or anything up front. All we do is talk about what their needs are. And then in the end, I tell them what the service will cost.
Okay, yeah, so you've got some prices and stuff on there, but for the most part, it's, hey, let's just see how we can, what you're looking for, or what your problem is, or what thing that you're trying to accomplish, and then you can guide them into, okay, well, actually, I think this would be a good fit for this situation. Is that?
Yeah, so a good example is a lot of the people I do business with are companies that want to do business in the federal space. Because I was a contracting officer where I bought stuff for the federal government for most of my time in the federal government. And so I come across people that either one, don't know the processes there, or two, don't know how to provide a proposal. And it's beyond leadership. There's so much more. If you look, so it depends on my client's needs. So if it's that, or it's leadership, or they're just learning how to do market research for their business, that was what my doctorate was in.
Okay.
And I have other colleagues that do other things that if I don't do it, I can turn you on to them. So I'm not really, to me, it's just, and I wouldn't say I'm a life coach. Don't take this wrong. I'm not a life coach. I'm just, because of my life experiences, my faith, and what's telling me now is just to give back to the next generation.
Ooh, love all this. So, okay, smilediscounts.com. Definitely check that out. We'll put some links down below. Check out some awesome books. And Claude, so you ready for a little bit about the 302?
Sure.
So since you've been in the area, what are some of your favorite spots that someone could check out, maybe food-wise or something, if they're just coming down here?
What me and my wife have been doing lately is going to Rehoboth Beach Bandstand, because they started opening up again. And I'm a child of the 60s and 70s. So I like music from that era. And so
I think everybody loves music from that era. How can you not?
yeah, and so it's just because maybe it's just the music nowadays are not to my taste. Unless it's actually country or jazz, because my dad had a degree in music. He had a doctorate in
Wow.
music, so I grew up listening to all types of even opera, and so I appreciate music. It actually puts me in my calm place when I'm having a difficult thing and I can't focus. It'll put me in my calm place, and so me and the wife, we go to Rehoboth Beach. They bandstand. They do during the summertime. They do different types of music. They even had the U.S. Navy band down there.
Yeah, I've seen them at Bethany too. Yeah.
And the other place because today's my birthday, we're going to Paradise Grill.
Today's your birthday?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh! Happy birthday, Claude! It's so awesome to have you on here on your birthday. If I would have known, I would have had something special for you.
Oh, it's okay. Don't worry about it. It's okay. I'm we live in Millsboro, but it's not downtown Millsboro. It's actually Long Neck, the Long Neck area.
Which one did you say again? I cut you off. I was so excited.
Long Neck.
No, I mean the place that you like to go.
A Paradise Grill.
Oh yeah, we were just there. I love it.
The Paradise Grill. So we like to go there, and so later this afternoon we're going to go there for my birthday celebration, and we're going to just sit there. And even though it's cooler today, which is kind of nice,
Yeah.
we're going to sit there and because from 2 to 6, since they opened everything up from the pandemic, they have music and stuff, and we're going to just sit there and get something to eat and
get transported into the Bob Marley beach life.
Yeah, there you go. And that's the reason why I live at actually this part of 302.
Yeah,
near the beach, actually near the ocean, not the Delaware beaches, the Delaware River beaches, the real ocean.
Yeah, the bays and it's just a different way of life. Yeah, I love it. A lot of local love and just kind of friendly people. Everyone's nice. They smile, wave at you.
And there's pretty much, we're restaurant people. We do cook some, but majority of the time lately we've been trying different stuff. My wife likes Italian because of the diet I'm on. I actually eat. I'm on a vegan, no fat, low no cholesterol kind of. I can eat dairy and stuff, but it has to be no fat. And so I like Seed Eatery.
I had them on the show. You got to hear their story. Oh my gosh, I love that place.
The other thing we started doing was, have you heard of Urban Float?
Oh yes, yeah. They sponsor the show, guys. If you haven't checked out Urban Float, by the way, you got to check it out. 1,200 pounds of Epsom salt in a big pod gives you body healing properties. Go ahead, Claude. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's okay. I'm glad I can throw that sponsorship moment in for you. But one day my wife was flipping through Facebook or whatever, and she said, "I want to try this," and I was surprised because I'm more of the meditative person. I didn't think she would try it, so we go there, and she goes, we go there every 2 weeks now, and I enjoy it because it actually helps me with my meditation. Because part of the thing I'm on, not to change the subject again, it's called Ornish Diet. It's actually after I had my heart attack. It's actually I'm talking about in this book, in the Heartbeat. I talk about the program on. It covers 3 principles: diet, exercise, meditation, and group. So you like in group like AA, or you get a bunch of people that have gone through similar situations, found out those kind of things help people. And so
Connection.
That's where I started. I do, most of the time I do 3 out of the 4. Problem is the group thing, because of my schedule, I have trouble getting to some of the groups. But I still talk to some of the people that went through my group every once in a while. But the meditation part, and that's the reason why once you found Urban Float, because part of the meditation party, we have to learn to calm your mind enough to actually meditate for an hour. That was the hardest thing I ever had to do. I've been through the military, but to calm my mind enough to actually learn to meditate for an hour and not think of anything but the
Yeah.
moment.
But I could go on with all this stuff for so long. I love everything that you're doing, and there's so much science behind all of this now. I mean, it used to be like a hippie thing, right? You're from the
Yes.
60s and 70s, like, oh, just be free and be happy and just don't think about anything. But honestly, there is so much science backing all this up now. I mean, meditation and all of these exercise, all this stuff. It will drastically change your life if you just try just a little bit. And I always tell people, just experiment, instead of saying I'm wrong or you're right or whatever, just start experimenting with your own self, And with the urban float meditation, I had to start I have these race thoughts, right? I'm sure we all do, and at one point, and I had to start with just 5 minutes. I had to just quiet my mind for 5 minutes, and it was like almost like a dog. I had to just train it to just sit there and, okay, I will feed you, I will get coffee, I will do whatever you want, but I just need you to sit here, and I'm not going to think about anything. And then I got 10 minutes, and then 15 minutes, and then 20 minutes, and all of a sudden, you still get a thought that pops in or something, but you just kind of let it go, and when you reach that quiet place, Claude, I don't know about you, but I feel so connected to life and just God, and just it's in that stillness. Is that the same experience you have when you're doing that?
Yeah, and how I started was because of the Dean Ornish program, and it actually the program, and this is a kick for BB Health because the program was through BB Health.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know if the program's still going because of the pandemic. I think they shut it down. I don't know if they started up again, but that's the one I went to. It was actually on 24.
Say it one more time, the name of it.
Ornish, Ornish. Dean is the doctor's name that came up with the program.
Ornish
It's
Dean.
part of their cardiac health. It was part of their cardiac health.
Okay.
And that was 3 years ago. 3 years ago that I went to the program. And because of the pandemic, I think they shut it down. I don't know if they're still doing it.
Okay.
But it was, to me, it helped. And so what I do through there, started learning to meditate from them because that's part of the thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I would always have that thing, like you said. But one of the other things to help fill in is we had to do it on our own because we only meet in those classes twice a week. So I had the same
daily
problems
practice,
you had.
right?
What's that?
It's a daily thing. I mean,
Yeah, it's a daily. So you have to do it every day.
yeah.
You have to learn to put everything aside. So one of the other apps I use is an app called Headspace.
Yes.
And the guy just has a calming voice. And one of the things he says, and I got from the other person from the Orange program, is you'll have those thoughts, they'll come to you, and it's not about trying to force your mind to push it away. You just got to learn you'll get those thoughts, and you got to realize you always get those thoughts because you'll think of something that you forgot to do or you wanted to do with your wife or the kids or business or whatever. You just got to learn to let them go, let them come and go. And once you do that and you stay in the moment and you start by focusing on your breath, and then there's other techniques you can learn.
Yeah.
And then Urban Float, with how I learned to do it is the music.
Yeah.
The music actually helps with them. One of the guys that was there recently once wanted me to get to the point where I didn't have any sounds, and my mind is not to that point yet. I'm not to that point in meditation where I can actually meditate with no sounds. I have to have like relaxing music or something like those wave sounds.
They have an in between too, where you can get a little music in the beginning and a little at the end, so you can start practicing the silence. Yes, I've gone like 7 times now. Really love it. Carlos and his wife that got that going down there. Very incredible people, and I'm so grateful for you, Claude, because I just think that there's like this shift in people because there's so much information now. For someone to not learn about this stuff, I mean, it's so prevalent right now too, that if you're not looking at this information that's available to you, it's just ignorance really, because it's not no longer a myth or a mystic thing.
I think it's just not. I don't know if I would use the term ignorance.
Yeah, it's a little harsh.
I understand it's just your background. It's a military thing.
Yeah, we'll say that.
But it's just because people don't take the time to learn. They learn what they want to know and they're not sure. So for me, I was forced into it. And so I learned all I could because of my health and because meditation, like you said, civilizations have been meditating for thousands of years. And it's a common practice. And those civilizations that actually meditate, their populations are a lot more healthier than the United States because we eat junk food, we eat fast food, we're always on the go. We think we got to prove something and do something every minute of every day. And we don't have to do that. We just have to enjoy life and all the rest of it will come.
Oh, Claude, I'm telling you, man, I could just go on and on for hours. This stuff. And I had my health issue, my health scare, and you had yours. And I think a lot of people get to a place where all of a sudden something happens in their life and they get jolted or shaken up and they're like, oh man, let me relook at my life. But, I want this message to be, you don't have to wait for that. You can be aware of it now, take some steps, contact smilesdiscounts.com and get in contact with someone like Claude. And there's just so many resources and things available, but just take a first step and just, creating a better life for you, your family, and the people around you. Claude, I got one more question for you.
Sure.
Actually, okay, I'm going to sneak in two. We're running out of time, but I got two questions. Okay. First question, what is one, besides yours, what is one book, tool, video, software, something that has shifted the way you think in your life that somebody could check out today?
The first thing I would say is the Bible.
No one's ever said that. I love
The
that.
Bible. Okay. And
Love it.
You, whatever your faith is, whatever you believe today, the Bible, one of my pastors and one of my youth leaders said to me, basic instruction for basic living on earth.
Yeah, love that.
So whatever you believe, wherever you're in your faith, if it wasn't for that book alone, and my understanding about faith, and because faith is one of those things that we all, in life, we have things that we need, food, shelter, and one of the higher ones as far as the pyramid is your faith and your belief in something higher than yourself. And
that little seed right there that you just said will literally pull people out of the depths of hell that they are in. I've seen the sickest darkness ever in people, and just by believing in something greater than yourself, you can pull yourself out of that.
Yeah, and that's
great point.
And that's what got me started, because I grew up, my parents were, one was a worship leader in a church. Because they were music, and I had the tools, but life pulls you and takes you away from all that, and until you actually get to a situation. So from that, every day, that's the other thing I practice. I pray and I talk to God, and it helps me, because if you're not there in your life, then I understand, especially over the last year with all the craziness with the pandemic and all the media and everything else trying to control you and all that stuff. It's important that you have some higher belief and something to keep you in a happy place.
No, Claude, I just want to make one comment on this, and then I'll have to ask you the last question. But I love how you are able to marry the sometimes there's a separation of the word meditation with church or Bible or faith. And all of that is straight out of the Bible. And I
Yes.
just love how you're making awareness about, spending that quiet time with God. It doesn't really matter what you call it. It's that stillness, that quietness and meditation means to become familiar with, so I just love how you're doing all of that, and you're an example of this work that you're trying to help people with. And I just want to take a second to kind of shout out to you and just say thank you for doing the work you're doing. And I really hope that this reaches people in the area, and especially people coming from these high stress environments from the cities. They're able to find you and just kind of learn how to relax and maybe take this leadership skills into their businesses and workplaces. So thanks again.
No problem.
All right. Now, final question. What is one question I should have asked you? And what's your answer?
Boy, you put me on the spot there. That's a good one. What's your favorite movie?
Yeah, what's your favorite movie, Claude?
Star Wars?
Oh, yes. I would not have guessed that.
No.
Wait, the original Star Wars, right?
The original Star Wars, not the new ones.
Not the new fancy,
not the ones that Disney has done, which they're kind of good in a way.
Yeah.
And what they've done with all the other things. But the original Star Wars, the very first one.
Now, mentioning Star Wars, Claude, we went on a trip down to Disney during pandemic, actually, which was interesting. But we ended up getting in this. We have this couple of friends that are just so into Disney. They just love it. Their grandkids love it and all this stuff. Well, they wanted to take us to this Star Wars ride, and you can only get into it. There's like a 10-minute slot in like 6 a.m. in the morning where you have to sign up. And if you don't get in, you don't get in. And they got in. So we ended up doing it. And if you haven't been there, and if you like Star Wars, if you go down to the Disney in Florida, you get immersed into the real, like, I think they even used it as part of their set with like all the stormtroopers and like lightsabers are cutting through walls right next to your face. Like, it's just so crazy.
I think there was if you have the Disney app on the iPhone platform or whatever platform you use, I think the Disney app, there's a video on there that shows them actually building that set.
Wow, that's cool.
There's a video on there that actually shows them how they went through that, and they talked to the guy that was the program manager for building the set for Disney and what they went through and all the stuff. You might check that out.
Yeah, check that out. Claude, we're out of time. I could go on again. Maybe we'll get you on maybe in the off season or something. We'd love to just meet up with you and maybe do lunch or something.
Feel free. I'm be at Paradise Grills this afternoon.
Yeah. Maybe. I'll see. I don't know what we're doing. We got a busy day. But again, thank you, Claude, for being on. And guys, keep living the 302 lifestyle. Thanks, Claude.
Thank you. Thank you, everybody.
Have you heard of float therapy? Holy cow, this is like the biggest secret in America. I think the world. Famous people, athletes, all these people are doing float therapy. And it's called Urban Float in Rehoboth. You can go to urbanfloat.com, click on Rehoboth, and check out these guys. You're basically sitting on 1,200 pounds of Epsom salt. Everything just feels so amazing. And you're on this weightless, de-stressing pod for an hour. I love it. You get a discount your first time. You can also let them know that you're from 302 Lifestyle. Check them out, guys. Sponsored by Urban Float.
Wish you could spend more time having fun and less time with chores? Go to 302beachtalk.com to get $20 off a home cleaning. You'll be entered to win a completely free cleaning. Eat, play, serve. Sponsored by That Guy with a Broom.